and think less. And the reason I say that is because we, when I say we, I really mean me. I spend so much time thinking about outcomes. And isn't that true of all entrepreneurs and founders and creative people? We're trying to create something so that we can get an outcome. And that outcome is something that we think we will enjoy, or we think it's going to improve our lives, or we are looking for some sort of positive result from the outcome. And you know what the issue with that is? We can't control the outcome of the situation, unfortunately. The outcome is downstream of the input. The only thing you can really control in your life are the inputs. And it's really hard to come to terms with that because it feels less stable when we truly understand the fact that we don't know what's going on most of the time and we can't control what's going on most of the time. Even when we think that we're controlling what's going on, usually what's happening is things are falling into place in a way that's favorable to us, but there are always more factors involved in creating an outcome than just our efforts or just our inputs. It's usually other pieces of the environment, other people, other counterweights that we don't always consider, but are definitely part of the equation. And all of those things conspire to help us become successful when we are successful. And of course, when we're not successful, it's a lot easier to see what those counterweights would be. All that to say that you don't really control what happens to you. You can control what you do, and what you do ultimately controls what happens to you. And sometimes things are random anyway. I mean, the market is a great example. Every morning I'm on the market looking to trade, and Ryan always says price action is random, and he's so right. It's completely random. A lot of life seems very random. So even when you do control for your input, you can't always control the output or the outcome. But certainly, regardless of what's happening around you, you can't really control anything but yourself. And it's hard to come to terms with that sometimes because it feels like part of our drive is to create some sort of control in our lives. We want to create some sort of sense of control, and so we try to dream up outcomes. We try to dream up different scenarios, hoping that they happen. And ultimately, the only thing we can control are our thoughts, our actions, and the things that we do. Just like in jiu-jitsu, they say, whatever is pushing against you, whatever you're pushing against is also pushing against you. Your opponent always gets a move as well. And if your opponent is the world, then the world always gets to have a say in what happens. But that doesn't mean that you still can't really enjoy putting out good energy into the world and seeing what things come as a result. Sometimes we get so obsessed with trying to create a certain outcome in our lives that we're not focused on the input anymore. And I think that it sucks because there's so much joy in just the input of life. Even the simple things, like when we're working towards a goal, when you're working towards a goal, something that's important to you, something that you want to achieve, if you're only focused on hoping that you can accomplish the goal as fast as possible, you're not really enjoying the process. And it's enjoying the process that allows you to do better at that process. When you're really, really enjoying yourself, you're having fun, you do whatever you're doing better. When you are actually, when you're in the flow and you're feeling good about your work, you're going to do things at a higher level. And you can only be in the flow when you're as present as possible. And so presence requires you not to be thinking about what the outcome's going to be or what the result is going to be. It requires you basically just to focus on what's happening right now, the inputs that you're making. And it can be really hard to get to that point because obviously we want to win, And even with like with this channel, for instance, I was thinking about my goals for this channel. I'm thinking about how I want to get the channel to, let's say, 1,000 people in the next month or so, or the next 2 months. Right now we're at 185 people, something like that. And I thought to myself, there's really nothing I can do to control how many people subscribe to the channel. There's really nothing I can do to control that. I mean, I'm already putting out a video every single day. I'm doing it the best I can within those parameters. Yes, I can spend more time and more money per video, but in general, I'm doing everything I can do. And so if I'm doing everything I can do and I'm putting together the videos in a timely manner, then all I can do is all I can do. And then I have to let the world, I have to let the world do its part. I'm making my move. I got to let the world make its move. And I also have to not look at the data so much. I have to not look at the dashboard so much. And I have to just be able to do the work without expecting constantly to see results, because results aren't always linear. So when you are working towards an outcome in your life, just realize that it doesn't always come in perfect increments. Like every month I get 10% better. Every month I get 10% more followers until I reach my goal. Like every month when I go to the gym, I can add, X amount of weight on per side on the bench press. Like it doesn't work like that. Success isn't linear. And when we think that success is linear, yo, what's up, Lex? Uh, when we think that success is linear, it causes us to overestimate I'm sorry, underestimate how much work it's going to take to get to our goal. And it also causes us to create false expectations around time. If you think that it's going to take you, you know, 6 months to get to a goal because you're trying to do things linearly and trying to do things in some sort of like logical time frame, a lot of times you'll be disappointed because things sometimes they'll start to speed up, and then you'll lose some traction, or you'll, like, if it's like a physical thing, you might even get injured and regress a little bit. Or like if it's a business, you'll start doing well, and then you'll you'll start to do bad for a little bit. And that's just the nature of life. So since it's not linear, and since life comes and goes in seasons, we can't always expect the output of our input to be rational, or to be on our time frame, or to be to our exact liking. We have to just be able to um, accept that the only thing we can control is our input to the system, and let the output do the rest. I'm working on a series of audiobooks for our company, New Wave Press, and it's the same thing. All I can do is work on the thing every day, and over time be able to finally put out the series. I can't control how people respond to the series. I can't control how many people watch or listen to the series. I can't control what the response is, but I can control the consistency of my effort in putting in time to build a thing. So, I think that's something to always remember. And I think that your input is so overlooked because input equates to work, right? And there's that great book called Do the Work by Stephen Pressfield. And the work is scary because it's almost like lifting a big psychological weight off your chest. You have to do this emotional labor of taking an idea and taking it from just being a random concept in your mind to being a concrete, physical thing in the real world. When you're creating, doing something creative, or in your business, which I think business is very creative. When you're doing creative business, you're constantly flexing your mind, constantly flexing your brain, and it's exhausting. So I think we sometimes we ignore that work because we don't feel like going through the effort of draining ourselves. And also, sometimes the result still isn't what we want. So you can drain yourself and still not get what you want. And I think most people don't like that idea. So they avoid doing the work. And instead, rather than focusing on input, they focus on, oh, well, what am I going to get out of this? When do I get the prize out of this? When do I get the token or the cookie? And I think that just overall lowers the quality of the work in general. So that's all I had to say. Hope you guys are doing well. And I'll talk to you in the morning. Peace.